Welcome and good afternoon or good morning, everyone. We're just going to wait a few minutes to let folks join the meeting, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, to be respectful of everyone's time, we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, just want to say welcome and thank you all so much for joining us today for the introduction and first module in the IT Fundamentals series presented by the CCDF Data and Information System Consultation Center, also known as DISC. Don't worry, there won't be a quiz on that later. My name is Crystal Robinson, and I am a strategy consultant supporting the work of DISC. Prior to joining the team here, I had the pleasure of working in the CCDF lead agency in the state of Indiana as the Child Care Policy Director. And as a former lead agency staff member, I just want to say that I am sincerely grateful for your time this afternoon, especially understanding that state plans are due in a couple of days. So again, we just really appreciate your time. During this call, the webinar will be recorded and the chat will be available for any questions that you might have throughout the presentation. We'll also have time to answer any questions periodically throughout the webinar. Also, just a friendly reminder, as a participant, you are automatically muted and the video option is disabled. Today, you'll hear from my colleagues, Raymond or Ray Phillips, who is the strategy lead consultant, Ryan Berger, who is a technology consultant, and we also have support from Meredith Russell, who will be monitoring the chat, and Shannon Smith, who is supporting the facilitation of today's webinar. As we move through the agenda, you will hear about the IT Fundamentals series, foundational IT concepts, how technology can support or improve implementation of your CCDF program, with the ultimate goal of enhancing the family, provider, and lead agency staff experience. And lastly, we'll share some upcoming technical assistance opportunities over the next few months. Before we get started, we would love to learn a little bit more about you. So what we'd like to do is we're going to ask you to just take a moment and think about the technology that you use on a regular basis or maybe even daily. If you're comfortable sharing, we would love for you to drop in the chat what your favorite tech gadget is, or maybe what some of your favorite innovations are. What I would say my favorite is probably my vacuum. I have a dog that sheds a lot, so definitely use my vacuum regularly. I see we've got phones. Definitely use that every day. Absolutely. Ooh, Chat GPT. Very, very innovative. Great, great. Ring camera. Absolutely. Home security is always important. Again, thank you so much for being here this afternoon. You can feel free to drop those in the chat. Ooh, a Roku, Ryan. Very, very, very fun. We'll go ahead and move on to our content today, but again, appreciate everyone sharing that with us. At DISC, we recognize that many of you are coming to today's webinar with varying levels of comfort and feelings around technology, including data and IT systems. You may feel completely overwhelmed using technology. We're here to help serve as a resource and a partner to you and your lead agency as you navigate the use of technology and modernization of your data and IT systems by providing universal, targeted, and intensive supports. All of our technical assistance is targeted to create better user experiences for families and childcare providers, as well as lead agency staff. The Data and Information System Consultation Center is here to support all CCDF lead agencies in your information technology efforts that will drive better user experiences, increase access to childcare, and achieve more equitable outcomes for children, families, and providers. There are many aspects to achieving these goals, and IT systems live at the center of those efforts. DISC was created by OCC to help fill a void and to be a resource for lead agencies as they upgrade, modify, or enhance their CCDF data and IT systems. We understand the importance of enhancing IT systems while administering the CCDF program and how it can support your efforts of maintaining compliance with the 2024 CCDF final rule, which ultimately also enhances outcomes for children, families, and providers. This will be especially true now with these recent changes to the rule. DISC aligns and expands on some of the ACF strategic plan goals, such as advancing equity, taking a proactive approach to ensure that data can support a continuous quality improvement process, and providing high quality programming for families and enable and promote the innovation within ACF by facilitating the development of new and innovative uses of technology. We are the newest center within the Child Care Technical Assistance Network, or sometimes known as CCTAN. The DISC team includes staff with expertise in technology, child care strategy, and project management to provide a well-rounded approach in serving lead agencies. This can be a valuable resource to you as you enhance efficiency within your business practices, and we are also available to support your new or existing IT strategic plans. Core to our mission is to help lead agencies develop and implement IT strategic roadmaps to plan and envision what technology initiatives are needed, how to prioritize them, what technology best practices should be used, and how to plan for the execution and implementation of those technology programs and your strategic roadmap. In hearing feedback from you, we created this IT Fundamentals webinar series in which we will discuss topics such as sourcing and procurement, IT strategic planning, IT processes, the software development lifecycle, security, technology transformation and modernization, data management, and governance. These topics are in line with the 10 topic areas that DISC will support, which you'll see on the screen here. Our aim is that through this webinar series, you will be better prepared to work with IT teams and vendors who provide data and IT systems and be more familiar with IT terms and concepts. We believe this will be particularly helpful for CCDF lead agency staff who are considering developing new systems or enhancing their current system. In today's webinar, we will focus on foundational IT concepts as it relates to software, data, and infrastructure, in addition to IT terminology, the roles within IT departments, and how IT can support CCDF operations. At the end of this webinar, we hope that you will be exposed to basic IT concepts, have increased awareness of IT terminology and the IT glossary, and increased insight into IT processes and roles. With this increased prevalence, IT knowledge is a necessity for all roles within an organization. The shift towards digital literacy and understanding IT knowledge is crucial for many reasons. It encourages adaptability to change. As organizations implement their digital transformation and modernization practices, having foundational IT knowledge makes professionals more adaptable to change. The adaptability reduces the learning curve due to not being intimidated by new systems and ensures the organization can pivot to new IT opportunities. We also know that the policy landscape and priorities of lead agencies can shift. Being able to have systems that are able to adapt to this change is crucial. It also fosters enhanced collaboration. From understanding basic IT concepts, non-IT professionals can communicate more effectively with IT teams and counterparts. The improved dialogue can help reduce misunderstandings and streamline project workflows to help lead agencies accomplish their strategic goals. It also improves the user experience. Professionals that understand IT knowledge can better advocate for and design solutions that enhance the customer experience. These enhanced user experience can lead to better outcomes, such as families accessing child facilities, or being able to support community members with data and information related to childcare access. I'm sure you've also heard of cyber attacks all over the news and headlines. You may have even been a victim of a cyber breach yourself. Having IT knowledge increases compliance and security awareness. Having foundational IT knowledge better equips lead agency staff and contracted partners to recognize and prevent security threats such as phishing attacks or malware. Understanding the importance of protecting data and adhering to compliance requirements helps to avoid costly breaches and keep the information of children and families and providers safe. It enables informed decision making. Considering non IT professionals are involved in making strategic decisions involving technology, having this foundational understanding of technology enables professionals to make well informed decisions aligned with your lead agency goals. Ensuring that all lead agency staff have access to data related to the implementation of their childcare program is absolutely critical for your continuous quality improvement efforts. Information technology, or IT, is a term for a wide range of activities and functions that deal with the processing, storage, and transmission of information. As lead agencies are in the beginning of or in the process of technology transformation or modernization efforts, IT plays an important role for innovation and operational efficiency. The scope of IT generally includes hardware, software, data or data management, networks, cybersecurity, and IT services. In the field of early care and education, there are a lot of terms and acronyms that are used frequently, such as ECE for Early Childhood Education, or QRIS for Quality Rating and Improvement Systems, or CCR&R for your Child Care Resource and Referral Partners. The same is true for the IT field. Now, we don't expect you to remember all the different terminology that will be mentioned in this webinar or even follow-up webinars. As a result, we have created an IT glossary that will be periodically updated to reflect the common vocabulary and terms. This IT glossary will be a living document on the DISC website. For beginners, the IT glossary can be leveraged as an entry point, providing a structured path to grasp concepts, and for seasoned professionals, it can also be used as a reference to offer clarity in the ever-evolving technology ecosystem. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it to my colleague, Ray.
Thank you so much, Crystal. As we move forward, it is important that we not only define the terms, but also explain how they relate to each other, which we will do later in this webinar. Now, hardware, this refers to the physical components of a computer system or device. It includes things like processors, memory storage devices such as hard drives or solid state drives, input-output devices like keyboards, mice, monitors, networking equipment such as routers and switches, and other tangible parts of a computing system. This could include your employer-issued laptop or tablet. Software encompasses the programs and applications that run on hardware. This includes operating systems such as Windows or Mac OS, productivity software like Microsoft Office or Adobe Creative Suite, business applications such as enterprise resource planning systems or customer relation management software, as well as games, utilities, and various other types of programs. For example, you may also have software that specifically supports CCDF business functions like eligibility processing, payment processing, quality rating and improvement systems, or childcare referrals. Now, data refers to the information processed and stored by computer systems. It includes both structured data, organized into databases or spreadsheets, and unstructured data, like text documents, images, videos. Data can be generated by users collected from sensors or other devices, or obtained from external sources. It is a critical asset for organizations, often analyzed to derive insights and support decision-making processes. For example, you may collect and store data to process a family's eligibility for subsidies such as their name, address, or contact information, service need, and income. As previously stated, hardware is the physical components that make up a computer system and what makes software work. Without hardware, software would just be lines of programming code with no means of execution. Hardware provides the essential infrastructure from processors and memory to storage and network communication devices that enables software to function and perform tasks. We've seen throughout the years the evolution of hardware, as devices that were once large are now portable. So think of your laptops and cell phones. Historically, the evolution, has been driven by the need for efficiency and portability. And as we look towards the future, hardware will need to evolve due to the first, computing performance. As businesses rely on data-intensive applications, the need for faster processing speeds and greater efficiency in completing tasks grows. Think about waiting for a computer program to start or a website to load. These are examples of the performance and speed which hardware can execute software commands. The second need is user experience, which hardware significantly influences. The responsiveness of a touchscreen, the clarity and vibrancy of a display, the ergonomics of a keyboard and mouse, and the portability of a device are all determined by hardware design and components. Hardware innovations enhance user interactions, making technology more accessible, intuitive, and enjoyable. And lastly, systems lifespan. Upgrading your hardware can enhance the lifespan of your systems by increasing compatibility, security, scalability, flexibility, efficiency, and total cost of ownership. Taking advantage of innovations in hardware can enable a business to perform effectively and efficiently. As your agencies use technology to implement childcare policies, your IT team and vendors will need to consider hardware advancements to prepare for your upcoming technology projects. Now, we all know software is everywhere, helping us to complete small tasks and deliver large, complex projects and programs alike. Now, think about the last time you did any sort of banking. Could it have been online, in a bank branch, or just withdrawing cash from an ATM? Software was involved to make sure that one, it was your money you were accessing, two, you had enough money to withdraw, and three, you were provided a receipt or summary of your transaction, and you were probably given options to do additional banking. Software was involved in every step of the way. Now think of all the ways in which you use technology to support day-to-day work of administering the CCDF program. You're running reports, reviewing licensure and monitoring status updates, reviewing research briefs, coordinating with leaders and other early childhood programs and services. You're likely using software to support some or all of these activities, and it's worth noting that you're using different types of software in different ways to accomplish some of the various tasks at hand. So we wanted to provide you with some detail and distinction on these types of software while noting that this information is also provided in the IT glossary for your additional review and benefit. The first type of software we want to discuss is system software. This is software that manages hardware and software computing resources and processes by interacting with hardware and running application software. It includes the operating system as well as utility software to optimize programs that run in the background, and device drivers and firmware that control your computer's accessories like printers, scanners, webcams, and other devices. So common terms like rebooting or clearing your cache deal with the system software that run on your computer. The next type of software is your operating system, or OS. You know some of the common operating systems that come preloaded on your computers and provide the user experience and functionality. These systems manage computer resources like memory and storage so that your most commonly used programs are at the ready for when you need them. Now, the last two software types on your screen are actually more of software delivery methods, but they're commonly used terms, so we want to spend a minute on them. First, software as a service, or SaaS, is a form of cloud computing in which the provider offers the use of application software to a customer and manages all the physical and software resources used by the application. This avoids the need for individual desktop installation and management, and also provides automatic updates via software releases provided over network communications. SaaS is typically provided through ongoing subscriptions and licensing. And cloud computing involves providing software services over networks, which is usually the internet, from central servers to individual devices. Access can often be provided on demand, where users can access applications anytime, anywhere, without installing them locally or through virtual provisioning, where the software runs on a remote server at a data center rather than individual computers. Now, application software refers to the web-based or desktop programs that process code and user inputs to produce desired outputs. These applications serve various purposes and cater to specific needs. Examples of application software include web browsers, word processors, spreadsheet tools, graphic design software, and video editing applications. Users interact with application software directly to perform tasks, create content, or manage data. These are most recognizable by the user interface or outputs that are generated. General applications are common computer programs used for everyday tasks. They're not tailored to individual user requirements, but serve a broad audience. Some examples of general applications include word processing software that is used for creating, editing, and formatting text documents. So think of your Microsoft Word and Google Docs. Web browsers, which enable users to browse the internet, access websites, and search for information. So for example, Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. And project management tools that help organize tasks, schedules, and resources. So think of Microsoft Project or even Trello. Custom applications are designed for specific organizational and functional purposes. They address unique requirements and workflows, might be provided through commercial IT vendors, or could be developed specifically for a lead agency. Some characteristics of custom applications include being developed to meet specific business needs, such as payment processing, inventory management, or document storage. These applications can also be configured to adapt to changing requirements or update changes in rules, requirements, and other regulations. And lastly, we'll cover commercial off-the-shelf systems, sometimes known as COTS. These are designed and developed by software companies and IT vendors to meet specific needs, such as managing inventory of goods and services, processing payments, or collecting care management data on people served in the program. Commercial off-the-shelf systems generally designed to meet programmatic or functional needs and has specific features, but is not typically designed in response to specific user requirements. Although these are off the shelf, there is often custom configuration and some administrative features that are tailored to the needs of the organization or the customer base. These are typically provisioned through the cloud in order to receive updates and functionality upgrades. Now, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to pause and see if there are any questions. Okay, I don't think we have any questions, so we'll continue. Now, there is data about everything. What is collected, how and when things are measured, and the ways in which data is stored and used can vary across programs and services. There are a few ways to think about the basics of data, and that's the data types, the data sources, and the data uses. Numeric data represents quantities and can be expressed as numbers. Some examples include maybe classroom size, ages of children, temperature, teacher-student ratios, salary and wage data, and the list goes on. Text data represents characters, words, and sentences, and is most often descriptive and qualitative. At the data level, it includes letters, digits, punctuation marks, and spaces, but we really think of the concepts that are represented through text data as whole, whether concrete or abstract. To humans, we need the totality of text data to understand the concept. However, to computers, specific characters are much more meaningful when understanding commands and inputs. So for example, A curly bracket isn't used much in our natural language, but it is critical for setting up code and commands. And then there are bits and bytes, which are the smallest representations of data, and they're transformed and encoded in order to be understood by computers. We'll occasionally run into this as a data type, perhaps in hashing algorithm to protect the data of people served in our program, or adding terabytes of storage, but just understand some of these concepts can be helpful in future conversations when we may need to speak the language of our IT partners. Now, data sources, it's currently estimated that over 328 million terabytes of data is generated each and every day. We don't need to worry about exactly how much data that is, other than it really is a lot. So much so that being really thoughtful about the data we choose to consume, use, and act on is extremely important. Data about people and things, and even data about data, also known as metadata, is collected and stored in a variety of ways, such as structured data, which for that type of data, it adheres to a predefined schema. Think of databases, think of spreadsheets, and it's organized into tables with fixed columns and data types. Structured data is suitable for analysis, reporting, and querying. Now, in regards to semi-structured data, it allows for flexibility and is commonly used for when exchanging data between two systems. And then we have unstructured data. Unstructured data has no predetermined format. So think of your text documents, your images, and videos. Natural language text, social media posts, and multimedia fall into this category. Techniques like natural language processing and image recognition extract insights from unstructured data might be used in case management and service delivery contexts. In CCDF, we're often generating primary source data about who is being served and what the childcare outcomes are, and we're overlaying a lot of the secondary source data into our decisions about program design, policy, like census data, income data, or research and evidence. Geospatial data, time or temporal data, operational data, and of course, other terms like big data and open data are likely being used in the delivery of childcare, and we'll talk more about these in future webinar. Data uses is our last topic here, and a lot of our data in CCDF is administrative data, which is best understood as being data about people. Administrative data could be anything from single service transactions like a meal provided to a child to integrated data sets across programs and funding sources that tell the story about people over a period of time. Now, you're likely using administrative data not just from the CCDF program, but possibly other partner agencies and programs to do things like measure program performance, coordinate care plans, and develop visualizations to tell the story about your programs and providers. There are lots of great resources, guides, and case studies on how lead agencies and other organizations are making the most of their available administrative data. So, how do we manage all this data and actually gather insights and make improvements to childcare based on the data that we have? Database administration, or DBA, involves managing and maintaining databases to ensure their smooth operation. DBAs handle tasks such as installation, configuration, backup, recovery, and performance tuning. Data governance ensures data quality, security, and compliance across an organization. It establishes policies, processes, and standards for data management. Data quality is comprised of data accuracy, validity, completeness, and reliability. This helps to ensure that we trust our data and are confident that the decisions we make are based on the best available data, while clearly accounting for any areas where data collection, data input, or data validations may have issues or challenges. All of these pieces are critical when considering how you pull data and create your federally required reports, such as the ACF 800, the ACF 801, the ACF 218 for states and territories, or for tribal CCDF lead agencies, the ACF 700 and ACF 696T. Analytics and AI will be covered in future webinars, and we know that there are some really wonderful happenings throughout the country by CCDF administrators and their partners to maximize the available data and provide impactful data storytelling, visualizations, and incorporate the leading edge of AI and machine language into CCDF operations and evaluation processes. Architecture data at a high level is meant to describe holistically the ways in which data, information technology, and software applications interact with each other to support the organization. What a provider needs to input data into a CCMS in order to be paid is very different than what is needed by a funder to view reports that are accurate and reliable. Architecture helps to define what is done and how it is done in order to connect many systems and prioritize investments in modernization and IT upgrades. Now, network is an interconnected system of computers and other devices designed to share resources and communicate efficiently. Key aspects of computer networks include the first, components and structure, which network infrastructure, think of your routers, switches, and hubs, form the backbone of data transmission, while devices such as computers, smartphones, and servers connect to and use the resources provided by the networks. Second, security and compliance. Precise security protocols allow for role-based access to critical data and systems. This helps to allow the right people to access the right data at the right time for the right purpose. Modern networks incorporate security features to help attain regulatory compliance and ensure best practices for information security and protect data through verification, automated monitoring, and cybersecurity protocols. Network functions encompass data transmission, which supports communication via emails, messaging, and file sharing, efficient resource sharing, including sending and receiving commands to and from printers, and network management activities like monitoring, configuring, and ensuring performance and security. And then lastly, technological advances, which extend automation and AI capabilities to support network management, can automate routine tasks, detect anomalies, and predict failures, thereby reducing downtime and improving reliability. Many of these advances are cloud-based, which in turn offers scalability, ease of deployment, and centralized control. In summary, a computer network is a crucial infrastructure that supports communication, resource sharing, and data management across various devices and locations. Its evolution, driven by technologies like AI and cloud computing, continues to enhance its efficiency, security, and scalability. Now, with regards to cybersecurity, it involves protecting information and systems from cyber threats. It is a combination of technologies, processes, and practices designed to defend against unauthorized access, damage, or data theft. Now, there are a few key trends in cybersecurity, which we'll highlight. The first is human-centric security. Think of traditional security measures that often create friction for employees. International IT research advisory firm Gartner emphasizes the need for a human-centric approach, which means that the approach focuses on user experience and reducing security-induced burdens to foster secure behaviors among staff. For lead agencies, these users may include families, providers, and/or lead agency staff themselves. Next, we have threat exposure management. Modern enterprises face a complex and expanding attack surface. Continuous threat exposure management, also known as CTEM, programs are critical. These programs help organizations understand their vulnerabilities and prioritize security investments to significantly reduce breaches. Next, we have identity threat detection and response, ITDR. Misconfigured or vulnerable identity systems pose significant risks. Strengthening these systems can prevent a majority of identity-based attacks, and by 2027, improving identity infrastructure is expected to mitigate 85% of new attacks, which will greatly reduce financial impacts. And lastly, cybersecurity validation. Regular testing and validation of security measures are essential. Automated tools for cybersecurity validation help organizations assess their defenses continuously, ensuring that they can withstand real-world attacks. Now let's explore a few more IT services. We've mentioned software as a service before, and that offers an on-demand access to ready-to-use cloud-hosted application software. Now, you don't manage the application's infrastructure or code base, you simply use the software via an internet connection. Next, we have platforms as a service, also known as PaaS, provides a complete ready-to-use cloud-hosted platform for developing, running, maintaining, and managing applications. These are tools that your software developers may be using to write and commit code to software applications, while you as the user focus on building and managing software applications. Then the cloud provider handles the underlying infrastructure, including servers, databases, and development tools. Other types of IT services you may encounter include infrastructure, which is the hardware needed to operate computing systems, models, which start to include AI tools and algorithmic development platforms. Technical services, which provide foundational support for hardware and software, and user support, which includes training and troubleshooting. Now, before we go any further, we do want to take another moment to pause and see if there are any questions. Okay. It appears we do not have any questions, so at this time, I will pass things off to my colleague, Brian.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ray. Okay, so now that we've covered a lot of the fundamentals around computer components, let's talk about how these tools are used, starting with your partner in IT leadership. So IT program offices and IT departments are responsible for aligning technology with program goals and to improve service delivery outcomes. The people in these offices play a critical role to ensure efficient IT operations. They also work to support the data collection, data management, and reporting requirements of programs. They advance data sharing and data analytics capabilities, and they manage risk and resources in a responsible way. Because there is significant work and responsibility placed with these IT departments, it's really important for CCDF lead agency staff to engage with them and to develop a strong and collaborative partnership. So depending on a CCDF lead agency's mission or organizational structure, the IT program office may be integrated and kind of embedded within the CCDF lead agency to provide direct support to the people who administer and deliver childcare services and programs, or they may be a standalone office, bureau, or department that operates kind of in an enterprise fashion and supports all programs and services at a state, territory, or tribal level. Generally speaking, an IT department will have about 6 primary responsibilities and functions. So to start, IT leadership and accountability means that there is a person who is defined as being responsible and accountable for the effective implementation of IT resources, including technology and people. IT strategic planning is the long-term planning for all IT systems and identifying future investments and priorities. IT workforce investment recognizes that IT departments are responsible for assessing agency IT workforce needs and for developing strategies and plans for meeting those needs. Budgeting, of course, is the process for both annual and multi-year IT planning, programming, and budgeting decisions. It's where those processes take place. Budgeting processes and decisions will often vary across lead agencies and IT departments, and these roles and responsibilities will be put into practice very differently, depending on if it's a new IT initiative that's being funded and developed, or if existing IT resources are being maintained rather than modernized. Implementing priorities is a change management responsibility that essentially focuses on translating program and policy requirements into IT procedures and practices. So this may involve implementing new or revised business functions, updating cybersecurity practices, or may be focused on establishing, implementing, and ensuring compliance with a change in a law, regulation, or policy. So an example of this might be incorporating artificial intelligence into work products, or maybe setting new data sharing protocols. Many of these roles and responsibilities are cross-cutting and overlap with each other. So for example, strategic plans may have initiatives that need to be budgeted for. Those initiatives may include workforce training components, and then there's resource management considerations as well, and of course, how the initiative is implemented over time and across phases. So these roles and responsibilities of the IT department, they may be shared with the CCDF lead agency at a departmental or even a task level. For example, workforce investments might include annual refresher trainings on IT applications, so we might expect that the IT department would collaborate with the CCDF lead agency to review program requirements and regulations, program design considerations, and any other relevant information of the CCDF program where there are technology considerations. IT supports business operations by enhancing efficiency, productivity, and communication. It provides tools and systems for data management, automates routine tasks, and streamlines workflows. IT infrastructure ensures reliable access to critical applications and services, and cybersecurity measures protect sensitive information from threats. IT enables remote work and collaboration through networking technologies, and cloud computing supports business continuity, disaster preparedness, and scaled solutions as your data and IT needs grow. This integration of IT into business processes helps to drive innovation, improves decision-making, and ultimately contributes to achieving program goals. So data and IT systems are a tool to support the administration and delivery of childcare to families, providers, and other partners. Investing in modern technology that is informed by CCDF requirements, policies, and preferences can help to make the program efficient, effective, and equitable. There are many ways to use technology to improve childcare, including understanding how well your program is meeting the needs of children and families through reporting and analytics. We see many lead agencies utilize technology to gather and analyze data, providing insights into the effectiveness of your child care program, or maybe to develop cost models and methodologies, to identify child care deserts, and to assess performance and outcomes indicators. This helps in understanding and meeting the needs of children and families. Incorporating human-centered design principles to improve programs and services that serve the emerging needs of children and families by applying design principles that focus on the users. Again, those families, providers, and lead agency staff, and that in turn helps to create programs and services that address their specific and evolving needs. There's also the benefit of freeing up time for childcare delivery and quality activities through increased administrative efficiencies and data management. Leveraging technology to standardize processes or increase automation can lead to more time to focus on providing high-quality experiences for families and providers. We can also look to things like meeting changing business and policy goals with agility by incorporating continuous quality improvement, or CQI, and by staying adaptable with technology that allows your program to quickly respond to changing business and policy objectives. This helps to ensure that you remain aligned with current standards and practices. Emerging research, funding opportunities, changes in political leadership and policy preferences, these all change frequently. And so we need data and IT systems that can meaningfully adapt and incorporate policy changes on an ongoing basis and not lock in policies or workflows forever. Lastly, implementing data sharing to guide care provision and coordination to meet the families. This whole child or whole family care means that we need to implement systems that enable the sharing of information to coordinate care provision effectively, ensuring that the diverse needs of families are met comprehensively, and this improves experiences and outcomes for families, children, and providers. So across all of these efforts, using a human-centered design approach in which services and products are really driven by the needs of people who use them is critical to first ensure that technology is more responsive to families and providers. Second, to make sure that we're incorporating feedback from the people we serve. Third, so that our technology is more accessible and easier to use and understand. And fourth, so that technology is actually creating efficiencies and driving more equitable delivery of childcare. OCC has some existing resources that are available to you, and DISC will be developing additional tools, templates, and guides, as well as delivering targeted TA and providing intensive consultation to support your data and IT systems modernization efforts. So we know that you have been intently focused on the CCDF plan. You've been working tirelessly to complete the sections of the plan in service of full CCDF implementation. And so because we're discussing technology, we wanted to try to tie in a few ways that technology might be used as a tool to further the CCDF program and improve the delivery of childcare holistically. We also know that there are a lot of changes to program rules and requirements that you're working through from a design and implementation perspective, and this includes technological changes that may be required. On your screen is just a few highlights for how technology, either through data-informed research and evaluation, increased data sharing and coordination, enhancements to software design and workflow choices, or by gathering insights through data analytics and business intelligence, can be used to improve childcare. And quickly running through the rest of the plan sections, we can see some additional ways for how data and IT systems can help us be really thorough and thoughtful regarding the design and implementation of the CCDF program. I want to highlight the example about aligning program design and policies under the coordination and partnership section. So we know that there are some really interesting examples that are emerging on how lead agencies and other public sector organizations are using tools like artificial intelligence, machine learning, optical character recognition, and natural language processing to do things like develop eligibility use cases, review program policies and regulations, and really turn large amounts of data and text into actionable insights, or to help answer complex and multi-part questions. You may already be incorporating some of these tools into your CCDF program, and we're excited to discuss these topics more in the future. So we understand that we've provided a lot of content, terms, and concepts today. We certainly don't expect you to have all of this memorized. As Crystal said, there is no quiz following this. But what we really hope is that you will walk away from this webinar today with higher levels of confidence to engage with IT professionals and vendors, since technology is such a great asset to CCDF lead agencies in implementing your childcare programs. Particularly, we hope that you use this webinar and the soon-to-be released IT glossary as a resource so that you can use common terms in order to have meaningful conversations with IT partners and to better align data and IT projects to meet the goals of CCDF. So we will take this opportunity now to pause and see if there are any questions from the audience. We'll hold space for just a moment to see if folks wanted to drop in a question or comment into the chat. Okay, I will go ahead and pass things back to Crystal.
Thanks so much, Ryan. We just wanted to take this opportunity to let you know that DISC will be providing 2 webinars in the next several months to explain the purpose, goals, benefits, and anticipated outcomes of the CCDF IT environment scan and provide further instructions on how to complete the scan. Additional resources such as open office hours for question and answer, web page posts, and other materials will be provided alongside these webinars to share additional information. Also, this fall, DISC will be hosting a webinar on intensive consultation opportunities for lead agencies, which is individualized technical assistance. Additional resources will be provided, including information on how to request intensive consultation, FAQs, and schedules for open office hours. So be sure to keep an eye out for communication in the coming months. If you're interested in learning more about DISC or want to engage with us, you're welcome to reach out to us via email or access information via the DISC website. If you're interested in receiving technical assistance, please be sure to connect with your OCC Regional Program Manager or your state systems specialist. And with that, we just again want to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Again, we know that it is a busy time of year with state plans being due in just a couple of days, so we sincerely appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.